In this lesson, I want to show you how well Prairie is doing at moving in a circle with as much bend and stepping under as possible. He's doing very well at that. And I'm trying to work him onto his natural circle so that he can start to get the feeling of doing a nice, easy trot without tension, without throwing his head up. And so the setup I've got here is just to have him in side reins with the lunge line going over his head. And he seems to tolerate that pretty well. The side reins aren't all that short. He's very slow and methodical. It's actually pretty boring to watch. Here I've got a different kind of a rein set up. This is like the video that you sent me with T, where I have one end of the long lines going over his head like a lunge line and clipped to the outside, and then I have the other end also clipped to the outside, and it's going through a little loop of twine at the saddle to hold the rein back so it doesn't fall over his head. And I have a little bit of trouble manipulating that. I kind of tend to lose the bend because I get distracted and I'm not having a steady contact using this kind of setup. I think the side reins actually give him a little bit more support that he can count on. The bucket there is supposed to mark the center of my little tiny circle. And eventually here I try to get him to move forward with a little less bend and move with a little bit more freedom and pep in his step. And he's starting to do that. And there he goes. I got him to do a little bit of trot there. I think I might be more successful with the side reins because he tends to stop when I lose the contact. Well, he tends to stop a lot anyway, but especially when I lose the contact. I would still like to try to figure out how to keep him going at the trot so that he can start to work on his rhythm. He's just so stop and start.
Yeah, good boy. That was very good.
When I ride him, I've been trying to really feel that seat-hand connection. I just slowed this clip down so you could get a better look at what I'm doing and what he's doing. I think he makes a very pretty picture. And he's kind of poking his nose out a little bit there, so I ask him to soften, and he does. I'm just amazed at the way he has begun to carry his head with his nose on the vertical. That is a revelation to me. And the muscle development that he has started to get. He's just becoming a prettier horse. I've been working on having that heavier, more elastic contact, and I think he finds it's more clear to him what I want him to do, and he's going a lot better. So here I'm demonstrating the lateral engaging step on a small circle with Samba, and compared to Prairie, he feels like a wet noodle when I'm moving him around like that. Compared to that, she feels like an I-beam. And maybe it's because she got such a thick, stocky body, but it doesn't feel like she's bending that much. And here I'm trying to look across the saddle to get her to move laterally. And she finally gets it. And here I'm trying to work her into a slightly larger circle with a little less bend, but still stepping under. And I'm trying to work her onto her natural circle so she can start to move with a little bit more freedom. When I first start riding Samba, she can be quite uphill because she gets an idea into her head and she fights me on it. We're coming up to this corner, and what we've been doing is just doing turn in on the corners of the square, and I'm trying to get her to turn left here, and she wants to go right. So I prevailed, as I do in all of these disagreements, but she's a brat. And right there, I'm trying to ask her to do a nice turn in with bend and softness, and she's saying, no, I don't want to. She gives me a little bit there, but not much. So I take it and go on. And right there, I'm trying to get her to do a little move out, and she's not giving me much, but she gives me a little, so I give her a little pat there. I'm trying to ride her with the more elastic, heavier, more elastic contact like I was with Prairie. And every now and then she just throws her head up and gets above the bit. We're having another disagreement here. I wanted to turn her to the left, and she wanted to keep walking straight. So we had a discussion about it. And here I'm trying to make her stop and regroup. She's just kind of dribbling on. So eventually I get her turned in the direction I want to go. Here, I believe I'm going to turn her in to do a circle, and she becomes captivated by the cameraman and nearly runs him over. Okay, go in a circle, circle, circle. Yeah, she wants to take a closer look at the camera. So there I'm asking for a turn in so I can bring her around back onto the circle, and she's just popping her shoulder and walking straight. So I have to get a little more, a little stronger with her and very insistent to bring her around. And she's not having any of it. So another disagreement. But toward the end of our ride, she really started to settle down a lot. And in fact, my husband went and got his horse and saddled her up, and we took them both into the woods for a nice trail ride. And Samba was completely obedient, compliant, very soft, totally listening to me. But none of that was on camera. All of that was after the camera stopped. So I really felt like it was a successful day despite the disagreements. Maybe that's just par for the course when you have a mare.